I'm like, I Google, this is a full-on admission. I don't know if I'm the only one that's done
Got
this.
it, girl.
Google like Carrie Underwood diet, and it's like, oh, she follows 40, 30, 30 macros. You're like, done, I'm following it.
Yeah. Have you seen her? I will do that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just her legs, done. 40, 30, 30. That's it for me. But to your point, no, that's for her. Like,
For her.
and that's
Right.
for her macros. But
Yeah.
Hey ladies, here is that Friday perspective straight from our Q&A vault. You literally don't even need to pull up a chair because we're going to answer this real quick.
I had a question come in around macros, and you are a macro queen. So, question was that someone had said that they have tried macros in the past and feel miserable when doing their macros. What would you say could be the reason?
That is a great question. So my brain goes in a bunch of different lanes. So I'll start with this. So trying macros. Okay, so in this industry, there are so many gurus out there, right? Like, have you ever done anything where they give you this diet plan and they're like, here, follow this, eat this, like,
1,700 calories, and here's your meal plan.
Yeah, like it's set, it's already preset. And I love Alex Hormozy. I mean, you know this.
Yeah.
And he was talking one time about how if you ever go to a mechanic, right, with your car, because you're having car issues, and you go to the mechanic and they never lift the hood up to see what's wrong with your car, like, you need to go to a different mechanic. So that, when he said that, that made me think about how this industry loves to give out blanket plans for everybody.
Yeah.
And the trying macros could be, maybe you didn't have it set based on your metabolism and goals. Maybe it was a blanket macro plan because what's best for you is not what's best for me.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. Can I just say, like, I'm gonna totally admission here in my past where I'm like, I Google, this is a full-on admission. I don't know if I'm the only one that's done
Got
this.
it, girl.
Google like Carrie Underwood diet, and it's like, oh, she follows 40, 30, 30 macros. You're like, done, I'm following it.
Yeah. Have you seen her? I will do that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
her legs, done. 40, 30, 30. That's it for me. But to your point, no, that's for her. Like,
For her.
and that's
Right.
probably her macros. But
yeah, so it could be that. So with that being said, I'm a big one on, like, if I've ever had the honor to talk to you about like your goals and macros, like we talk about where your metabolism is sitting. Now I will tell you, home scales, like this is like a big tool that we use. Like there's different tools that we have within our nutrition, within our mindset, within our exercise, the tools that help bring it all together. One is knowing where your metabolism is falling. So your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Now I will tell you, home scales are never 100% accurate. They're just not. Like, they're not, ladies. Like, let's burst a bubble. They're not, right? But I will tell you this. You stand on your home scale that stays in the same spot in your bathroom, and you wake up, ladies, and you use the washroom, and you get in your birthday suit, and you put your naked toes on the scale, and that is your consistent weigh-in, and you see body fat percentage going down and weight going up, muscle going up, like, you're tracking trends. But if you want a more accurate scan, like, by all means, like, get a DEXA scan. I think it's really great to do. But for the everyday tracking simplicity, home scale is perfect. Yeah. So grabbing the BMR is where I focus. And grabbing that, you see where the metabolism is, you see where their goals are, and then you know where to never eat lower than. Because a lot of times people think, I'm just going to eat less so that I can lose more. And that is the exact opposite of what is going to happen. Yes. So not to go on a tailspin with that, because that is a question that did come in, but to keep it real centered around macros, one, you could just be having a blanket plan handed to you.
Right. So you're following.
You could have the wrong percentage mapped out for you. You could be eating lower than your metabolism is firing, and that's controlled by your muscle. You could also not be weighing your food.
Okay,
like a food scale.
With weighing, so here's the other thing, because while we're on this topic of macros, this is why I love macros. I think there's so much freedom in macros. Not only if you're hitting your proper macros, like, do you feel amazing? your energy is there, you feel full, you are like living the high life. But yes, you have to track, but it's not you're tracking and weighing the rest of your life like a crazy person, unless you really have like some crazy goal. But for the majority of the population, macros are beautiful because it's a learning curve in the beginning for sure. But everybody that I've ever coached on it, and myself included, you get into this groove where you understand at such a deep level, like that you could go to a party and have a spread and you don't have your scale, but you can figure it out based off of, and then you can also, I love the game of macros, can you tell? Because then you can also, like, if you know a party's coming or you know you have an event, you can play the math game of like, I know I'm gonna go out, I know I'm gonna have a glass of wine, I know I'm gonna have a whatever. So, and there's probably gonna be pasta, I can't even eat pasta, but I'm pretending I'm one of you that can. Like, I know I'm gonna have pasta and wine with my husband, because that would be amazing someday in another world. So I'm not going to eat all those carbs up front of my day. So I'm going to save them because I have like this certain amount.
But no, it is important to know that. And then too, like with the food scale, prioritizing protein is very important. And I think there is a big like misconception about, I don't want to bulk up as a woman. I don't want to look like a man. That's why I don't want to be a bodybuilder. That's why I'm not going to lift weights and strength train and all of that, which we're not built that way. Right? So that's not going to happen. But with the macros, it's important to know, like, no matter where you're at with how you feel, getting on a plan that is based on your metabolism and your goals is key.
Yeah.
So like, let's say your basal metabolic rate is burning at like 1734. Like I coach to never, ever, ever eat below 1734, like period, the end. Because if we do things on a restrictive level for the win of the scale, when it is not best suited for our metabolism or our goals, we're going to sacrifice muscle, which then lowers metabolism. And when we let go of the restrictive ball and it swings back, then we end up gaining more weight because the metabolism lowered, because that's controlled by your muscle. So with that being said, macros is math. And I think that a lot of times people get very overwhelmed with it. They think they have to like count everything and like weigh everything, and it's not freeing, it's overwhelming. And to your point, it is absolutely freeing. Like we can't track what we don't measure. And there is always going to be a difference between eating healthy and tracking healthy. And you're going to see it in the transformation of your goals and how you look. So that is always going to be the difference. So prioritizing protein is key, but some of us feel really great on higher carb and some of us feel really great on higher fat. Like you have to listen to your body. It's the best hospital in town. But doing macros and not weighing your food, I've always found that combo to be the norm. So that is going to be something that would be super helpful when we are actually looking at doing macros. And at the end of the day, you should be eating things that you love.
Yeah.
And sometimes that does include the things that taste good that isn't necessarily good for us, but that's life.
Oh my gosh, do we have so many gems in the Q&A vault. So if this hit, share it with someone who needs to hear it, girl. And we'll see you on the next episode, dropping Tuesday. Have a good weekend.